سلام به همگی. خیلی خوشحالم که با شما باشم امروز. ولی اگه ممکنه من به انگلیسی با همه حرف بزنم. I just want to start first by thanking خانم فیروزه غفرپور and شهره نظر for inviting me today to speak. And before I share some formal remarks, I wanted to first and foremost express my solidarity with my sisters in Iran. I want all the women of Iran to know that we hear your voices, we see your suffering, and I stand with you. I will never forget you, and I will always continue to fight for the rights, the basic human rights of the women in Iran. Please know that you have my word. And so if I may, I'll get to my formal remarks now. From its inception in the 1979 revolution in Iran, when the Ayatollah Khomeini and his Islamist backers seized power in Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran regime has launched a reign of terror against the citizens of Iran. Today, the Islamic Republic of Iran has established a vast system for the express purpose of abusing the citizens of its country, all in the effort to maintain the regime's power and for the state to maintain control over the Iranian people. The magnitude of the regime's human rights violations are so great that there's no way in this one talk I can actually do justice to this issue. Let me just say that according to the US State Department's annual human rights reports, which as the speaker, as our moderator mentioned, I had the privilege of serving as the Deputy Special Envoy in the Trump administration and working as well on Iran issues at the time. We saw in the annual human rights reports of the State Department, which was collected with tremendous resources, the countless human rights abuse violations of the Islamic Republic regime, including routine, arbitrary, or unlawful killings and arrests, torture, and other cruel, inhumane, or degrading treatment or punishment, forced confessions, often gained through torture, airing of these forced confessions on national media, unfair sham trials with no semblance of due process, rape and sexual abuse in the prison system and elsewhere, executions, disappearing of individuals, repression of civil rights, including press freedom, internet freedom, academic freedom, and freedom of peaceful assembly, and discrimination against the LGBT, ethnic, and religious minorities. In fact, the scale and magnitude of these abuses of the Iranian people is perhaps the one thing which draws all Iranians together and unites the people, because it is the every woman and the every man which is feeling the oppressive burden of this regime upon them. But if we were to analyze the Islamic Republic regime's human rights abuses purely from a numbers perspective, then clearly what we see is gender apartheid against the girls and women of Iran. And this language, gender apartheid, is really strong language. So one has to ask if the matter actually requires the use of this language. And I would argue that it does. And so to break down how it is that the Islamic Republic of Iran's regime commits gender apartheid against the girls and against the women of Iran, what we see under this regime is discrimination in the legal and judicial sphere against women. We see repression of women human rights activists. We see discrimination in political and public life against women. We see discrimination in education against girls and women. We see discrimination in employment, in nationality rights, in marriage and family matters, and we see state-sponsored violence against women. I have to take note also at this moment, we know that here in the United States, at any moment, we're expecting an announcement of a new Iran deal that will, without a doubt, be releasing billions of dollars of sanctions relief to this regime. And so again, I just want to tell the girls and the women of Iran that even though things do not look very good at this moment, we will never stop fighting for you, and we won't give up on our optimism for a better future for you, because there are many here in the United States, in the West, who stand by your side and we will never forget you and your basic right to human rights. Thank you so much for having me on today.